Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Thank you for tuning in, citizens of Gotham. You're the best and smartest fans on the interweb, and this is the People's Channel. We have been talking a fair amount about Bitcoin on the show. We started talking about Bitcoin, almost 5 years ago, and really got into it in during the pandemic and in the summer of 2020, and started following it more and more closely. What has been discussed the last year and all of 2023 was the Bitcoin ETF, with basically, to explain that for those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically a product that Wall Street sells. So there's actual Bitcoin that you can own and hold it and store it on a cold wallet, or keep it on an exchange, which is insecure, or an ETF is basically you are buying shares of it. It's really the difference between owning physical gold, like gold coins, or a gold certificate that states you own coin. And why is it's important is because, as we had Max Kaiser on the show a couple months ago, he said, BlackRock is an evil company, but they're useful idiots because it's an inferior product, in my opinion, and Max Kaiser and many other Bitcoiners' opinions, to owning an ETF is an inferior product to owning actual Bitcoin, but it will bring a mountain of institutional money. Just a tsunami of institutional money is going to come flowing in, because people who are like, I don't understand Bitcoin, I don't want to go to some exchange, I don't understand putting it on a cold wallet, but their stockbroker, their investment, their hedge fund person or whatever is going to say, we're going to put part of your portfolio in a Bitcoin ETF. And they're going to go, okay. And it will make the price go up. The price already went from 44,000 to 46,000 just on the news that came out about 4 or 5 hours ago. So let's just read the story. And I'm going to pick a story from CNN, very mainstream media, and see their depiction of how they talk about this. No, thank you. SEC gives Bitcoin ETFs the green light. So after a false start Tuesday, the Securities and Exchange Commission gave its approval Wednesday for some investment companies to offer a spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds. That's what ETF stands for, exchange traded funds. The regulatory's highly anticipated move is expected to make Bitcoin investing more accessible to Main Street investors without requiring them to own the digital asset directly. SEC Chair Gary Gensler made it clear in a statement on the SEC's website that the agency remains wary. Okay, here we go. While we approved the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin ETF shares today, we did not approve or endorse Bitcoin. This is the hilarious hypocrisy of the SEC. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, this is just, I gotta call this one out real quick. This is like, because he doesn't want to look bad, because Gary Gensler's like, oh, it's Bitcoin is used by criminals and terrorists and drug lords and blah, 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 even though he knows exactly what Bitcoin is. He's talked about it openly. He knows what it is. So this is him saying, yeah, we know it's real money. And Wall Street, him pressuring him, going, 11 spot ETFs got approved today, 11. And I'm sure Liz Warren was like, what are you doing? We've said Bitcoin was bad. Bitcoin is going to outlaw Santa Claus, or whatever she said. So this is him just kind of covering his ass, going, we're approving Bitcoin, but we still don't think it's great. Oh, okay. Great lip service, Gary. Really solid lip service. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to crypto, he wrote. Right, because the regular stock market is totally safe and secure and there's no corruption. The SEC had a deadline of January 10th to offer a decision for just one of the 11 firms that applied to offer Bitcoin ETFs. On Wednesday, it offered approval to all 11 of them. Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, has a current market cap of roughly $900 billion. It has seen volatile price swings through its 15-year history. Most recently, after hitting an all-time high of nearly 69,000 in November 21, it fell below 16,000 during the crypto winter of 22 and has mostly been trading north of 45 in the run-up to SEC's decision. Which, here's the thing about an article like this. Yes, that is all true. And crypto and Bitcoin specifically can be very volatile. It can have very severe pullbacks. But, if you look at the history of Google, Amazon, Apple stock, these companies have had huge pullbacks, 70, 80, in some cases, 90% pullbacks. But if you own it over the long haul, if you're in for the long haul, which if you bought Google 20 years ago, Apple 30, 40 years ago, whatever, any of those those big tech companies, 20, 30 years ago, you would be making money. You would be in the black for sure. About an hour after the news Wednesday, the price of Bitcoin was up 3% to nearly 46,000, according to data on coinmarketcap.com. After the stock market closed on Tuesday, a post on SEC's X account falsely claimed the regulatory agency had approved the listing and traded of spot Bitcoin exchange traded products. So their Twitter account got hacked. That was strictly debunked by Gensler, and the SEC took down the message. According to X, an unidentified individual obtaining control over a phone number associated with SEC Gov account through a third party was responsible. Okay. And the FBI was looking into the matter. Earlier this week, Gensler posted a thread on X warning investors of the risks of crypto investing generally. Investments in crypto assets also can be exceptionally risky and are often volatile. A number of major platforms in crypto assets have become insolvent and or lost value. Investments in crypto assets continue to be subject to significant risk, his post read. Okay. Those sentiments have been echoed by many financial advisors and the investor watchdog group Better Markets, which strongly oppose the SEC's approval of Bitcoin ETFs. I wonder if Better Markets is funded by big banks. In a scathing statement following SEC's announcement, the group's president and CEO, Dennis Keller, pulled no punches, with the flagrantly lawless crypto industry crashing and burning due to a mountain of arrests, criminal convictions, bankruptcies, lawsuits, scandals, massive losses, and millions of investor and customer victims. Who would have thought the SEC would come to its rescue by approving a trusted and familiar investment vehicle that will enable the mass marketing of known worthless, volatile, and fraudulent? All right, sure. I mean, again, we've talked about this at great length on this show. Those are the altcoins and those are the exchanges. These exchanges are corrupt. They can be corrupted. Altcoins can be corrupted. Bitcoin does not have a CEO. Bitcoin doesn't have an office. Bitcoin doesn't have a board of directors. Bitcoin exists. It is decentralized and exists on the blockchain. Can this Bitcoin ETF be corrupted? And probably it's Wall Street. They can corrupt it, but this is why I would urge you to just buy Bitcoin, put it on a cold wallet, and just hang on to it because the price is going to go up. So this will help boost the price, but BlackRock, and these other companies are a little dangerous. But let's also look at the response from Max Kaiser today, because he predicted this was, everyone's been talking about that this is going to happen. So this was Max Kaiser today on this is Max Kaiser on Twitter today, who we've had Max on the show. For lots of investors who've been sitting on dead money gold ETFs for 10 years, tomorrow they can swap out for the fastest horse in the race, Bitcoin ETF, and they will. And then Kaiser also wrote, as a former, let's put this on the big screen. As a former stockbroker, I was banking on this. Wall Street runs on products. Bitcoin is the new product to them. They tell the SEC to approve Bitcoin ETFs, and they do. So this is, this is what is happening. So again, this is, as Kaiser said on my show back in November, an ETF is an inferior product. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, But I own Bitcoin. I will not own a Bitcoin ETF. However, the Bitcoin ETF will make the price go up, which is why a lot of people, including Max Kaiser, are predicting that Bitcoin will hit 220,000 in the next year or so in this bull run cycle. This is going to be the beginning of the bull run. When we get to April, Bitcoin mining will go in half. That'll be half. So we'll go from 6.25 Bitcoin mined a day to 3 something a day, which will reduce the supply, which will increase the price. And every time there's been a Bitcoin halving, which they happen about every 4 years, Bitcoin goes on a like 12 to 16 month bull run. So, and this ETF is just going to fuel that bull run. I got into it because to me, after studying all this, and Bitcoin is the one thing that gets me out of the grip of the central banks. I lost my home in the 2008 housing crisis, actually lost it to foreclosure in 2010. That was pretty crushing for me. That was going to be like my retirement. And, I saw Bush and Obama, both parties, bail out the banks and allow Wall Street to create 6 million, to profit from 6 million foreclosures, which that's not 6 million people, that's 6 million families. So you're talking about 2 to 3, probably 3 to 4 people per home. So you're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 million people were affected by those foreclosures. I mean, I was married at the time and it was just, we don't have kids, but me and my wife were, she was affected by it. We were both really affected by it. So that's why I'm a big Bitcoin proponent. This is why I will be guest hosting the Orange Pill podcast in El Salvador starting in February. So follow money, connect the dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Go to GrahamElwood.com to follow what we're doing. We'll be announcing some tour dates. We're finishing up the Anything Can Happen game show pilot. A lot of cool stuff happening. And again, please subscribe to the Orange Pill podcast with Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert, because I will be guest hosting that show in February. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom.